And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the African American Athlete. I know it's been a minute. My name is Rickey Hampton. I'm here with my friend and frat brother, Michael Roberson. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday evening. It is good to be back. Mike, how you doing, good brother? It is good to see you, man.
All right, was feelings mutual, and of course, I'm happy that you're doing better.
Definitely, definitely. I was on the DL for a minute, but
Yeah,
you can't keep a good Kappa man
there
down,
you
man.
go.
Come on, man.
Absolutely,
Come on.
absolutely.
It,
And
it, it,
I've
it,
had a lot of traveling since our last appearance too.
yeah, we gotta get caught up. The
Yeah.
last time I talked to you, you were headed down to Dallas for the Major League All Star game. How did that go?
All right. Besides, I mean, the one complaint I had, and I know people on Facebook saying, "Man, be quiet." It was so hot, man. It was. It
Man,
was.
be quiet, man.
It was hot. Look, start of the baseball game. You know how they'll give you first pitch and the temperature. First pitch was like 7:19, 7:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. 99 degrees, and that was actually cooler because during the day it's like 102, and it's like I don't care if it's dry heat or humidity. It was hot. And then and the thing about it is that when we got dropped off, if we took the shuttle bus, you had to walk around the building to get to the media entrance. And that's the longest walk ever because it was just so hot. And so you're like we got dropped off like on the northwest part of the baseball stadium. And then the entrance is in the southwest. So you got to walk around. And then what you see when you walk around is Cowboy Stadium. So
Why didn't they try
you can see Jerry Ward over there while you're walking over there burning up in the sun. Then you finally can get to there. But by the time you get there, they'll have hot water there. And you start sweating by then.
Of course, nobody cares what happens to the media, Mike. You know
exactly.
That. But you would think they would try to accommodate y'all a little.
Yeah, that was the part of it. Is like it was a lot of confusion with the shuttle buses because I heard some people say, "Yeah, we got dropped off right here in front of the gate." I'm like, "Okay, then why are we?" I mean, we got dropped off across the street on Nolan Ryan. I think it's either expressway or something like that, highway. But it's the street, and it's a hotel over there, Lowe's Hotel. And then another part of that hotel is called Lowe's Live. And that's where we had the meet and greet with the celebrities for the softball game. So that was cool. And I had a great interaction with Tiffany Haddish. So that was funny. And got a chance to talk to T.O. Finally, to see what he's like. He was real cool. And then T.O. knocked a bomb out the park, almost out of the actual ballpark. I mean, he hit it over the softball wall, and then it hit the actual wall.
Wow.
And this is the softball, yeah. And his batting, I think he choked up on the bat, and the form was terrible, but he jacked it though.
Man, I would like to know if I ever had a chance to have a conversation with him. I would like to know how he ended up at UT Chattanooga.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a good question. Like I said, when I talked to him, it was brief, and there's like other reporters around. I wanted to talk to Pedro, but they kept asking me questions in Spanish. I was like, "Señor, uno en inglés." I was trying to throw in my Spanish and all that stuff, but I just could not. Then they dragged them away.
Were there many black writers there?
I mean, the great Rob Parker, and I finally met him in person. Rob Parker's there, Clarence Hill, those guys are there, but not at that particular event for the celebrity game. So, like I said, we had a little meet and greet in the beginning, and then it kind of got strained. Dion moseyed in late, so nobody really got a chance to talk to him. But yeah, it was quite a few writers down there, but at that particular event, I don't think I saw too many. And
yeah.
Like I said,
who won the game anyway?
Was that?
Who won the game?
Oh, T.O.'s team. I can't remember if he was national or American, but T.O.'s team.
No, I mean the real.
The American League won. They came back because the National League was up first on a 3-run homer by Ohtani.
Now I don't know about you. I'm gonna see how you feel about this. But the All-Star game doesn't do as much for me now that both leagues have interleague play
Yeah.
as it did back in the day when these guys finally got together. And to me, it takes a little bit away from the World Series. But I mean, you
It's
it's
funny
good
you
and
mention
bad
that.
in that because you want to see all these great players.
It's funny you mentioned that though. I was at an event or I was talking with someone about this very thing, and I said a lot of people were upset when Bud Selig changed that, and also brought in the wild card. But then I told him, I said, you know what? I mean, for me, growing up in an American League and National League scenario, that's how it was a
You
little
got the
different
best
for
of
us.
both worlds.
Yeah, it was different for us. But once again, the closest team was the American League, and I wasn't an American League guy. I was a National League guy. So I think we got to talking about this because we're talking about the DH. They're trying to put the DH in an NL. And I said, I don't want that in an NL because a lot of the strategies and all the nuances of the National League will be wiped away if they do that. So, and then I was saying that, as a kid, it was rare that I would get down to Wrigley. So I'm on the American League team, so I can't see Dave Parker and all these guys come to town because the National League doesn't come to the Brewers. So that's what's frustrating for me. But then I did finally see Dave Parker, Willie Stargell, and all those guys. And actually that same 79 year, I went down to Wrigley. And then the other time I went down to Wrigley was in 78, and I got a chance to see Vida Blue and the Giants in a doubleheader. Yeah, there were doubleheaders, kids, and it wasn't a separate fee like there is now. If you went to a doubleheader, you pay one amount and you got both games for the price of one. Nowadays, they'll spread that out hours later, and you're paying double prices because they want to clear everybody out. Yeah,
and they clear you out of the building now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You or unless you pay for both and then you get to stay. But yeah, so that's what I said that there's a lot of people that live in areas where it's maybe only one team, or they have to drive hours to get to that one team, and they only gonna see half the players. So, like I said, if you're in an American League city, you can't see Dave Parker, Willie Stargell, all those great guys in that league. Then if you're in the National League park, you couldn't see Reggie Jackson, you couldn't see the Yankees and all that. So that's what I said that, because it happened as an adult, I looked at it differently, just like you did. But as a kid, I would have loved to have been able to see those National League guys in Milwaukee, and vice versa. And then you get some people that said, "Oh, it was like such a thrill when I finally got to see the Yankees play," because World Series is not going to happen every year. You're going to get Kansas City Royals, you're going to get the Yankees, and even in the All-Star game, you're going to get a select few players. So to actually see the whole team is a big thrill.
Yeah. Now the National League has it now, right?
No, I think they were experimenting with it. I don't
They
know.
had it in 22.
I don't know if it's official yet, but I know they were.
They used it in.
It might be because Ohtani. I think that's what Ohtani's doing now, because he's not pitching. So I think it actually is a real thing now, because otherwise Ohtani wouldn't be able to DH this whole time, because remember, he's not pitching this whole year because he's somewhat rehabbing, but he's not pitching. He's not doing the dual thing.
It's still hitting home runs, man.
Right.
He's dude out there with one arm.
Right. Well, that's the thing about it, is that I had the pleasure of seeing he and Judge. I mean, the one drawback is that Mookie Betts is still out. But I just saw the Dodgers a few days ago, and then Ohtani had an okay series against the A's. I mean, I think he had one home run, but he had a lot of strikeouts. I was like, oh, is he starting to lose it? And then, of course, Judge, he was here earlier, but he'll be back here again this time against the A's. So I saw him against the Giants. Once again, a rare game that the Yankees will play the Giants, even though they go way back to the New York days. Yeah. But, of course, the Yankees are American League, and the Giants are National League. So there's a lot of people out there saying that, Man, back in the day, I would have never been able to see the Yankees play here.
Yeah.
San Francisco. So that's why I'm saying that.
You speaking of Mookie Betts, you know where he's from, right?
Yeah, Nashville. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I missed him at the All-Star game. I really wanted to see him there. And so yeah, but that was a great experience. That's one of those bucket list items. So I can always go back and say, okay, I got that one checked off. And then I also got the National Hockey League All-Star game. So
far this year, man, you have been on the road. You covered the women's Final Four.
Right. 3rd year in a row.
And the All-Star game. What's your next big trip?
Well, I want to go to Howard for that big football game where we play Howard. TSU plays Howard for their homecoming. But we got a lot of changes going on at TSU with our president stepping down. And then there's been some changes in the administration. So I don't know, if that's going to be.
Mike, speaking of TSU, they brought hockey in, right?
Yes.
As an alumnus and a sports journalist, what's your thoughts about them bringing in hockey?
Oh, you know what? And it's funny. Speaking of the Final Four, one of the writers from Minneapolis, he wanted to talk to me about that because I guess he covered.
Bill Neal?
No, I can't think.
Bill Neal's a brother from Minneapolis.
No, he's a brother, but he actually got an award when the Final Four was there. I can't think his name off. It'll come to me before the show's over.
Well, Bill Neal has covered baseball in Minneapolis.
Right, but no, that's not his name though.
You know him, okay?
Right, and then so he said, he wanted to talk to me about hockey since that's my alma mater, and I also cover the Sharks and everything out here. So the thing about it is that there's a connection to the Predators, and I think our guy that used to play for the Predators, I think he had something to do with this too.
Subban?
Yeah, Subban. And so then, of course, they have a coach now. But my question to him, he said, well, what do you think about it? I said, well, my question would be, what is going to be the demographics of the team? Because we've seen what it is in baseball.
Right.
We saw the HBCU. Well, I actually was there live for that, but you see what these HBCUs look like, and it's not. I'm not trying to diss anybody of a different heritage or anything, but
no, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not commensurate to what the school is, and same thing with golf and all these other sports that are non-traditional for these colleges. So yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Are we gonna have a bunch of Canadians on the team or people from the Eastern Europe? Or we're gonna find, the Quentin Byfields and the Evander Kanes and all them, and will they constitute the team? So yeah, that was my question. Is like, what is the demographic going to look like? And then are we gonna have another situation where, hey, this team represents us, but I'm not really enthused because I'm not seeing people look like me.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I love the jersey now. Have you seen the TSU? Yeah. I do like the jersey. But, Mike, first of all, who are they going to play?
Well, yeah, especially on that level because, once again, you have the big-time hockey in your area, Michigan, Wisconsin, all them, but they
don't want to play none of these teams.
Yeah, they're at a different plateau. And then you maybe some of the mid-majors, but, I don't – they're not going to be playing any other HBCUs unless – that happens like overnight, but yeah, that's gonna be interesting the way they break this down. Or, maybe it'd be a situation where they say, you know what, since you guys are the only one, we'll bump you guys up to D1 for hockey, but everything else is Division 1 AA like it was in football back in the day. Or, basketball, of course, is Division 1. So maybe they'll bump them up as Division 1.
I think they have the, and I don't want this. I love TSU, as you well know. I grew up with that program. But I think it's going to be the worst hockey program in the country, man, because they're not going to be able to recruit the guys they get. They're going to be guys. I can't go nowhere else. Well, let me go to TSU.
Yeah, that's the same thing I'm thinking. Yeah. unless they have
and funding that
legacy,
team. You
unless
know
they have
how
a legacy
expensive.
and they say we're gonna break the tradition. I have grandparents that went to HBCUs. My parents went to HBCU. Now we get some of the top-notch players that feel that way, but like I said, to find the top players and them be black, it's gonna be hard. You got to really
Right.
scrounge over Canada and all that.
You'd be better off trying to go back to baseball. There's more baseball players out there. There's some brothers, as you well know, that brothers playing hockey. But there's more baseball players out there. I just think they thought, well, we'll have the first black hockey program. They're like the dog that caught the car. Now what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Well, I'll always be cheering for them because I love the Big Blue. But I just have never figured that out. And I meant to ask you about that the last time we're on the air. But, man, we kind of got caught up. Let's get to some of the current events. I want to get your thoughts. Just overall, Mike, what have been your thoughts on the Olympics so far? And is this something – do you have an Olympic tradition that you follow, or is it just like a year-by-year thing?
Well, the main thing for me is, and I've said this on a few occasions, and I had someone ask this. I said, even though basketball is my favorite sport of all, when it comes to the Olympics, it's all about track and field. It's all about track and field. I mean, I always will prefer track and field over basketball, even though this basketball team seems to be destined to win it all. But then I had to remind people, I said, you know what? You guys, I don't think you guys understand what happened in 88. Because that's when everything changed after they lost in 88. But if you really break it down, they were the best team in the Olympics in 88, even though John Thompson had this defensive team with players on there that had no business being there. But they were undefeated, while Yugoslavia and the Soviet Union, and that's when you know it's a long time ago because they're no longer even called that anymore.
Right.
But those two teams, one of them beat each other, and the other one, I think, lost to Puerto Rico. So they had one loss. The United States was undefeated. They go into that game against the Soviet Union. Guess who's missing? The leading scorer in the nation, Hersey Hawkins. Hersey Hawkins got hurt, right? In a blowout against China.
Yeah.
So, and how did they lose? They lost because they lost the 3-point game. They made more threes than the U.S. And so
I still say Anthony Mason should have been on that team.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is that when they overreacted and said, well, we got to get the NBA players because we're just, we're going against grown men. I said, dude, if you made more threes, if you'd had like Sean Elliott or B.J. Armstrong on the team instead of Charles Smith, the other one, the point guard for Georgetown, and Stacey Augmon, if you'd have had, instead of those guys on there, we might have done better at three-pointer. And we didn't have Hersey Hawkins. So I said that's why I thought it was an overreaction to say, well, we're outclassed and, they have NBA players and, we don't. So we're going to have to go get the NBA players. And I just thought that was just like if somebody your age beat you up and you went and got your father. What point did that prove? That's what I wrote. I wrote that.
They got their big brothers.
Get their big brother or their father. Yeah, but I'm saying NBA just seemed like it was the father because that was way.
Well, I tell you what, though, you better have your NBA players in today's game. It's a lot of.
Well, part of that is because of what David Stern did. David Stern decided that, you know what? First of all, we're going to change the dress code because basically you guys are looking to, the word they like to use, ghetto. With Iverson, I think, was on there on the sideline, not playing with the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar jersey on. And then somebody else was like dressed like, they just going to the club. So they just said, we don't like this. White America is not enjoying this. So it's going to go back to the 70s where we had to have games tape delay. So we're going to change the whole look there. Then they said we're going to start changing the rules. So it'd be more appeasing to the world. So that Dream Team helped change that, but indirectly it pretty much minimized the need for American-born players because now we changed the rules where it's more like European basketball, which makes it easier for guys like Luke and all those guys to come over here and blend in. Because remember what the reason why a lot of European players never made it? Because there was no zone defense. You had to be able to play one-on-one defense. And a lot of people got cut because they couldn't play defense.
Yeah.
And that's why it kills me when they throw in the, well, in the 90s, it was easy for Michael Jordan because he only had to go one-on-one. I said, yeah, but there's a defensive end. And if you can't guard anybody, they can't help. They can't do all this double teaming and triple teaming when they're trying to stand in the zone area because that'll be an illegal defense. So a lot of players could not make the NBA because they couldn't play one-on-one defense. Now, you can't stop everybody a great scorer, but if you just do an Olay defense, there's no way they would keep you on that team.
But before we get too much into basketball, let's. I do want to talk about the men's team, but I want to hit the women because they actually played today, and they beat Nigeria, just an easy 88-74 victory. Nigeria hung in there. Nigeria is a up and coming program. A lot of good players.
Let me stop you right here, Ricky. Just think of this. Just think if Enrique said, you know what, since you guys are going to keep me off of the USA team, I go play for Nigeria. And then let's say Nneka Ogwumike said, you know what, my parents are from Nigeria, even though I was born in Houston, I'll go play over there. So you get Nneka and Enrique over there. It looks a whole lot different. And you want to know if that harkens back to? And that's why I keep telling people when they say, oh, man, they only beat South Sudan by 1 point. I said, do you guys realize the 76 team almost lost to Puerto Rico because of one player that's born in New York City but played for Puerto Rico, and that's Butch Lee. Butch Lee was a one-man wrecking crew against the 76 Olympic team, and they barely beat them. And then he went on the following year to win a national championship with Marquette.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that it's been a couple of close calls, but of course they've gotten over it. But when they sit there and make it seem like, well, this would have never happened back then, I said, no, we've had some close calls. And even in 72, we lost, even though they cheated. But the fact that it was still close games. I mean, the way they would have avoided that cheating to happen, they'd have been blowing them out by 20.
Just blow them out. Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. The ladies won 88-74. Asia Wilson had 20 points. Brianna Stewart had 13. Jackie Young had 13. I mean, BG, Brittany Griner comes off the bench for this team. That's how deep they are.
And I don't think she's still recovered from this whole fiasco. Now, not the Soviet Union anymore, but in Russia. So I don't know if she's still.
Yeah, but she's played well. They really just hadn't faced a challenge. I don't know if they will this time. Mike, that's 59 straight victories for USA women's.
And I forgot what the circumstance was when they did lose. I'm trying to remember back what happened.
They've won 8 straight go. I can't remember.
Right. Yeah, I remember them losing, but I forgot what the circumstances were. It's just like, now with the soccer team. I mean, the women's soccer team is playing, really well. They're in the gold medal match, but this is going to be a tough one because they're going up against the traditional power, especially on the men's side. They're going up against Brazil, and then Marta, who's like a legend of all women's soccer. This is going to be her last game, and so a lot at stake.
I watched them the other day. I watched them yesterday. I forgot who it was against. Was it Australia?
Yeah, I can't.
I think it was.
Okay.
But Mike, they won 1-0.
Twice. Because Trinity Rodman got a game winner. They won 1-0 earlier.
But I'm like, I can't. Soccer's not enough scoring for me. I know you covered on the highest level. What makes the game fun for you?
Well, see, okay.
Tell me how I can learn to appreciate it.
In baseball too, though. So for me, when I cover the game, it's a little different than if I'm actually watching. If I'm actually watching it, it's like, but like for baseball, I have to keep score. That's the only way it keeps me enticed, because I have to keep score. So that way I can say, okay, let me lay this out so now I can have an idea of how I'm going to craft the story, because I'm keeping score. Now, soccer, yeah, it's tough, but, especially with soccer, if you know who the players are. Like I said, hey, that's Rodman's daughter out there. Let me watch what she does off the ball. Okay, that's Garma. Garma is our frat brothers, actually one of the younger frat brothers that he was in the undergrad while we were doing the grad down in Long Beach. His sister is Naomi Garma. So, of course, I'm going to be interested in looking at her. So then you kind of like look at it from a different perspective, because it's not going to be a goal every time they go down. You got to look at, okay, what strategy are they using? Are they going to stop this? Blah, blah, blah. So
now, can you tell the great players? I'm watching a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I could tell LeBron James. If I had never seen a game before, I could look out there and say, damn, that guy, LeBron James, is really, really good. Can you tell that?
For soccer, it's the footwork. So if you got somebody that can, dribble the ball because you're using your foot, that hence the name football, even though we hijacked that name.
Right.
And we only kick it, a couple times. And now they're going to try to outlaw the kicking pretty much. But, so the way the people come down the field and then they could get around the defender easily. That's when you say, okay, they got good footwork. Then are they always around the goal where they can, get themselves open without going offside? That's another thing with hockey and soccer. You got to make sure you're within a certain distance of the defender. You go too far ahead, that's going to be considered offside, especially if you try to kick the goal. So what I'm saying is that if you see someone knows how to get open or knows how to dribble the ball, when you're watching them, you say, okay, that player is probably good. Like if you see Messi out there, it's like when you see Messi playing in the MLS, it's like, man, this dude's a whole different level than these guys. Just the way he just.
So you can look at him and see.
Yes.
You see what I would see if I was looking and seeing LeBron.
Right. Yes. That's that. You just see that. Okay, this dude is on a different level than everybody else out there. So as soon as he gets the ball, he knows, where the ball should go. He's just thinking ahead of everybody. So yeah, probably just like when Pele came and played with the Cosmos. Even though he was really at the end of his rope, but he's still, you can see talent.
Okay. But funny thing, and that's the thing about Olympics, man. Especially, me being on the DL mic, I'm watching stuff I would never watch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a badminton game. I'm like, go USA. I'm like, why I even care? I'm cheering. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
I won't watch that. I won't watch a badminton game for another 4 years, I'm sure. I guess that's the beauty of the Olympics. So.
Exactly. It makes you have pride in your country. And then let's go back to '68 when a lot of us had to sit there and think, well, you know what? These brothers are right. We're being taken for granted. I mean, we got guys out here sacrificing and running for this country. And as soon as they get back from wherever the Olympic Games are, treated like second-class citizens again. So, so that's why that was a big thing. But then you go back 30 years before that, Jesse Owens is like, oh my God, we love this guy. He's such an American hero. He's going up against Hitler in the Aryan race, and he wins the 4 gold medals. And then you get back here, Teddy Roosevelt, like, yeah, whatever. I don't have the time to see you. I mean, not Teddy, Franklin Roosevelt. Yeah, so Franklin Roosevelt, basically never shook his hand, never even really congratulated him or greeted him. He should have been a hero at the White House.
You know what? You mentioned that another guy that had that kind of
Joe Louis
was Joe Louis.
Yeah, exactly.
I just heard a story about him the other day.
Yeah,
Joe Louis was a big-time golfer also.
Yeah,
and Ted Rhodes, who was the first black golfer to play on the PGA Tour, was his personal pro, and he helped sponsor Teddy. And of course, the PGA Tour the rules in the Constitution said for members of the Caucasian race only.
Yes.
Those are the rules. But
Yep.
every now and then, they snuck into some tournaments. I mean, literally. Ted Rose was out in Los Angeles in 1948, playing the LA Open. He got in the LA Open at Riviera, one of the famous courses. It would be like Lambeau Field for golf. That's what Riviera. Dude gets in the LA Open prestigious tournament. Ted Rose finishes 13th. Top 20 finish today, he's probably getting $800,000. But back then, if you finish in the top 20, just like now, you could go to the next week. So Mike, the next week, Ted Rose finished 13th. So he goes up to Pebble Beach to play in the Bing Crosby Open. Do you remember when they used to name him after the
I remember.
They get up there, they say, "Man, what you doing here?" He said, "I'm Ted." You knew what was coming, right?
Right.
He said, "I'm Ted Rhodes. I played in the LA Open. I finished 13th. So I'm automatically qualified." They said, "No, we don't let you guys play here. We don't let your kind play here."
And
then he sees hold on, just to finish it off, he sees Bing Crosby. So he says, he goes over and tries to talk to Bing Crosby, puts his hand out. "Mr. Crosby, I'm Ted Rhodes. I finished 13th in the LA Open." Bing Crosby didn't shake his hand, turned around and walked away.
Wow.
Mr. All-American guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So to your point, then you go to 1968, all the stuff we have to deal with just to get on the field to try to play. It's amazing what Black athletes and the Black community has been able to accomplish in this country.
Right. And the thing about it is that a lot of people don't realize that the IOC president at the time was affiliated. I don't want to say affiliated, but he had some type of connection to Nazi Germany. Right. And then, of course, he did not want to see these high-profile Black people making a political statement. You know,
and they kicked him out of the.
But
they kicked Tommy Smith and John Carlos.
Both of them. But here's the thing about it, though: a lot of people think that they got their medals stripped. They still had their medals, but it was basically, you know, they had to be away from Mexico City and all that. And then, of course, their name was tarnished. And then you had jerks like Brent Musburger writing that they look like some Black stormtroopers. And this is before people knew stormtroopers from Star Wars. And I just said, wow. And then this guy now still in the media doing Raiders games and stuff like that and never apologized to these guys. Yeah. But then check out what he did. He basically tried to bully Isaiah Thomas on national TV because of what Rodman said about Larry Bird. So Isaiah Thomas had to sit up there and make a statement about the Larry Bird controversy because of what Rodman said. But they figured Rodman wasn't a big enough name, so we're going to punk this guy out on national TV. Yeah. And then Musburger's sitting there, you know, basically contradicting himself. Like, you're sitting there saying, well, why did you say that about Larry Bird? But you still haven't apologized what you did to John Carlos and Tommy Smith. Right.
Yeah. It's it's been that way, but at least we have forums like this now and other platforms where, you know, you can express yourself. But the women they're in good shape, Mike, to bring home their 9th straight gold medal. I want to get to the men's because I tell you, I don't know about you. I am loving every chance I get to watch LeBron James play basketball now.
Oh, why you say you don't know about me? I've been the biggest champion of LeBron since we've been on the air.
But here's what I know you appreciate this game. But here's what I'm saying. Bro, you need to watch this guy because he's not going to be here much longer. I am appreciating. I watch LeBron just like I did Tiger. I do Tiger even now Tiger's not nearly the golfer here. I still watch him because I appreciate what the brother did, and I know what he's going through. Man, the other day, not the game the other day, yesterday they won easily, and LeBron almost had a triple-double. But the game before that, Mike, it was a play, and it just summed up everything about this guy. I think I texted you about it. I was texting everybody about it.
Yeah, when they threw the pass behind his back.
Yeah, but Mike, how he processed that whole thing.
Yeah,
I wish people would go back and just watch.
That's a gift. That's a gift.
It's a gift.
You know,
it's a gift.
He has all the physical attributes, but his mind is like
off the chart. I was talking to our friend Ray Scott today, and Ray Scott, I didn't even bring it up. Ray Scott brought it up to me. We were talking about plays, and he mentioned the pass where the cutter's coming baseline. LeBron sees him. He's just it was an absolute dime. And Ray and I agree. He's every bit as good as passer as Magic Johnson.
Yep.
And Magic Johnson is one of the great passers in the history of this game. And Magic might have been a little fancier with it, but LeBron could do that if he clearly could. He just did with that behind the back. I've seen him use a ball fake and bring it back. And then just like, come on, man. He's toying with you guys out here, man. I appreciate that.
Exactly. Like for me,
Go ahead.
Oh, let me finish. Okay. No, but like for me, I saw Kareem, but like I said, I didn't get to see him live. But I saw Kareem, of course I'm real young and I was so mad when he left Milwaukee. But I would have loved to see Oscar. I'd love to have seen Wilt. I'd love to see those guys. But when I do look at the time frame I've been there and actually seen these guys live, to see Michael live, to see Shaq live, to see all these guys live, and then now to see this guy's entire career, and then unfortunately, finally, the last few years, got to see him live. You know what? I absolutely appreciate every one of them. I'm just saying that, and all these guys out here hating on people because one guy other than the other, it's just ridiculous. It's wasted energy. And it's a lot of nonsense that people are making money. I mean, think about it. Skip Bayless may be done now, but look how much money he's made by this whole diatribe of I'm just sit there and attack LeBron because I know there's enough haters out there that'll love me for being a truth teller, as he calls himself. So, and that's been an industry. Let's dog LeBron out. Instead of just saying, look, man, we got some of the greatest players ever. Like I said, even Kobe. Now, a lot of people now are doing it because it's posthumous. Now it's like, no, you didn't like him, man. You're doing this because some people are using it as his memory as another form way to attack LeBron, which is ridiculous. I like Kobe, from the beginning. Now, there was some times I didn't like him as much when that whole Shaq stuff happened, but still, I've liked him ever since, he came out because I was saying that's Jelly Bean's son. Jelly Bean's son is going to prime with Brandy. So he's had a long history himself.
Here's the thing with Kobe. I was not a big fan of the Lakers, number one, here in Detroit. So we hate to see him coming. Clearly, he was a great player. But I don't think his game was as efficient.
Oh, not even close.
As some of these other guys.
Even Michael's game wasn't as efficient.
But don't get me wrong. I take him on my team every day of the week.
Yeah.
But you just look at we're looking at just when you break some of these guys' games down. That was one. His competitiveness. Give me that every day. He was a warrior. I take on his team. But there would be other guys I would take before Kobe. Wouldn't be very many, but LeBron James would certainly be one. For me, and if somebody wants to take Michael Jordan, I ain't gonna argue with that. Go right ahead. But I'd rather have LeBron because he can do more. He can do more. He's gonna last, as I was saying 10 years ago. He's gonna last longer. I mean, this brother, he's 40 years old, man. Damn near 40 years old.
In December.
And he will still go up and spike one on you, cousin.
Right.
But it's just the finer points of his game that I love. Another guy on that team I love, and I've always liked this game, is Drew Holiday.
Yeah, I love Drew. Yeah.
He just goes about his business, man.
Yes. I love Drew's game. Yep.
That trade, him giving up him for Dame Lillard, man, in Milwaukee. Look, Dame is a great player. All these guys are great players. But as I heard Steve Kerr say, I'm not looking for the 5 best players. I'm looking for the 5 best who mesh together.
Yeah.
And you can throw Drew Holiday in any lineup and he's going to fit right in. Am I right?
It's similar with KD too. But I think because of KD, but KD missed all that time. So I like that Kerr says, I'm not going to just throw him in there because he still might not be conditioned as well. And it'd be better for him to come off the bench. And that formula is working. I don't want to mess it up now saying because of his pride, they'll put him in starting lineup. So that's the one thing I do agree with him. But
what? No, go ahead.
No, I still don't think that. I still think, sometimes you also have to be cognizant and caring about, okay, this dude just won a world championship and, this is his first Olympics. Now, to go a whole game without even playing, that's kind of tough. Now, if he's arguing about he should be starting, that's a whole different thing. But I still think he should have at least got him in at least a little time because, a few of those games we were winning by a lot. So let the man play. Let him really snip it.
Yeah, I get that. But I want to go back to this one more thing about LeBron. You got all these great players on this roster. Steph, KD, Anthony Edwards, AD, all these great players. Who do they look to lead them? It is without question, LeBron James is the leader of that team. I mean, that he has the respect of the players, the coaches. Did you see what Steve Kerr said about him the other day?
Yeah.
To be around him and see him work and see him prepare. Bro, everybody that come in contact. And Mike, he's even better off the floor.
Yeah.
What he's done with his life off the floor is even more impressive.
And what's not about to happen, though, Ricky? What's about to happen? He's about to play with his son. Unprecedented.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about barrier breakers.
But all those great players, some of the greatest players in the history of the game, they all look at him. Lead us. That's all you need to know right there.
That's true. And then Isaiah.
Well, tell me this. I've been talking about LeBron so much, I hadn't talked about the state of the tournament. Okay, they advanced yesterday and
they're playing Serbia again for the 3rd time.
They got the Joker.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, Serbia. Number one, Serbia had a great comeback. People in Canada are pissed.
Oh, I know. Because they thought
that was the team. Everybody said they're gonna whoop USA's butt when they catch them, and they gone, bro.
Yep. And so is Greece and Giannis.
Yeah, they were hardly competitive, and Serbia stole one yesterday.
Yep.
I think they were down 24 points to who was that they played yesterday? No, was that Monday with Serbia?
Yeah, because I know France is the one that beat Canada, right?
right. No, South Sudan, they were down. No, they beat South Sudan Saturday. Okay, my schedule is not caught up.
Australia, somebody beat Australia.
They beat Australia yesterday.
Okay.
They beat Australia. They were down 24, and the Joker went to work on them. They beat them 95. There you go, 95-90 in overtime. France beat Canada 82-73. Germany beat Greece 76-63. Greece only scored 63 points. Who you think's the biggest threat?
Well,
You got Germany and France in one semifinal, Serbia and USA in the other.
I think the biggest threat, well, because it's hard to beat a team 3 times, I'm worried about Serbia, of course. But then on the other side, I think I'm more worried about Germany because they, with Schroeder and a few of the other players, they seem like they could get it done, in a one-game situation. And that's what this is now. We're in the knockout round now. Now we're trying to get medals. So this is the wrong time to lose. And this is what happened to the 88 team. They lost during the knockout time. That's why they end up with the bronze, is because they got beat at the wrong time. So if you're going to have a bad game, this is not the time to have it. So, and then once again,
Schroeder plays so well when he plays for Germany, doesn't he, man?
Exactly. But I'm saying with this Serbia thing, playing a team 3 times, you could think like, oh, man, this could be one of those one times that your shots aren't falling and the Joker and other guys start going crazy. But then with France, you got Wemby and you got the Stifle Tower, and they're playing at home. So who knows if they get extra motivation or extra boost from the crowd. So that's what I'm saying, that it could be either one of those 3, the Serbia with the amount of times you played them, Germany because they got a couple players that really want to get at you guys, and then, of course, France being
Wagner. Wagner played here at Michigan.
Yeah.
He was a good player, Mike. He was a good player.
Yes.
But he got drafted 8th. But I'm like, damn, he got drafted number 8? He didn't look like that there. But, the NBA always drafts on what they envision this guy to be.
Well,
he's becoming
you come from the Big Ten, like Markkanen. Markkanen, they thought Markkanen was going to come out here to the Warriors. They just re-signed him for a huge contract. Remember, he was at Illinois.
Yeah. He's a good player. So, but yeah, it's going to be hard to beat. USA is going to have a bad day, and somebody's going to have to play great
or get hurt. Somebody get hurt.
I don't see this happen. Hey, you're a track and field man. I want to hit on this before we get out of here, Mike. Noah Lyles, what your thoughts on him, and can he bring home the double? Have you ever seen a closer race than those? Mike, not only 1 and 2, it was like 4 or 5 guys right there. Mm-hmm.
Well,
and I wish I could show highlights of it.
Yeah, well, you got to be careful.
Olympus ain't going for that.
Yeah, we got to be careful with rights, and then of course we already know what's going on with one of the other websites. But you know what? It's funny because I had just said this to a young lady from our hometown, and I said, you know what? I had a race similar to that in Milwaukee against a guy, and we're at their gym, and we're at the tape like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I beat him because he was like, I think he was a grade ahead of me, and he was one of the higher ranked hurlers in the state. And I said, yeah, I beat him. I said, yeah. And all of a sudden they came back and said, nope, Dunlop won. I'm like, how? I said, but we didn't have, the fancy cameras and all that stuff. So I said, I got it from that perspective. But there's, video proof that he's ahead of him because of the torso, whereas they talk about
it's the torso, not
the torso. Yeah, that's why they tell you to lean. And they made a great point when they said that hurdlers are more used to leaning at the tape because basically we got to go. So
what do you mean about why is it important? I know in a close race, but
because
the technique behind that?
That's the part of the body that's going to be really detected when you go across the tape. Because if you just, put your arm out and say, I'm going to win because my hand went across, that won't count. If you put your foot across, that won't count. You got it. That's why they emphasize that you have your chest out so you can make sure that's the first part goes.
Our logo, our African American athlete logo, he's leaning.
Well, no, he's acting like he's just coming out the blocks. Because the way he's leaning forward because he's coming out the blocks. So he's not at the finish line because it'll be more like this. So you shouldn't still be doing your strides. You should be now, making sure your chest is out there.
Yeah.
So in the Jamaican runner, he was kind of more like back like this.
Right. And you look at his foot. His foot is at the line.
Right.
Wow. Technique is
absolutely
everything. Can he win the 400?
I think he's doing the 200, right? I think he's doing the 200.
I'm sorry, the 200.
Yeah. He can, but once again, see, what I was worried about with him was that he would now, and we got more controversy too. Hopefully we have enough time.
Yeah, let's hit it right quick.
All right, so what I was worried about with him was all this talking and that he was going to come back to be egg on his face because, I understand you talking trash to your competitors, but you're taking shots at your own American ball players. When he made that comment about, this always bothers me when they won an NBA championship and they say champions of the world. Why do you even need to delve into some nonsense like that? So now unfortunately, you got NBA fans hoping you lose because you're running your mouth too much. Yeah. So it was going to be
that was before the Olympics, right?
Yeah, but people were still upset at him. There were people rooting against him because he made that comment because they were going to say, champion of what? They were ready to say that to him if he would have lost, and he knows that. So now, if you win a 200, you pretty much off limits. But I know that the three Celtics players on the USA team, if they win the gold medal, they could go up to him and say, not only are we world champions of the NBA, but we're world champions also. We got the same gold medal you got. So those three could talk mess. Right. But the fact that it was unnecessary, why you going after your own country people? I can understand you arguing with the Jamaicans and the other runners from the Caribbean or Europe, where they're from, but just take shots at the four professional sports per se by saying that. And then you said champions of America. That shows how naive you are because there's teams in Canada.
Yeah.
So if you want to get technical, or like Larry Holmes would say, if you want to get techno about it, there's teams in Canada, and then they might even try to get a team in Mexico City. So I'll be champion of the Americas, but this is something that's been going on way before you've been born. So who are you to sit there and take shots at what we call world champions? Just worry about if you're going to win the 100 and the 200. Other than that, that's for me. I was like, man, I don't even want to hear you. I didn't root against him. I'm glad he won. But I just know that if he would have lost, they were about to lambaste him about that statement.
Yeah. You know who's had a good time at the Olympics has been Snoop Dogg, man.
And Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
You know he's supposed to be getting it's a report out there that he's supposed to be getting $500,000 a day for his reporting during the
Snoop Dogg?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Expenses and all that stuff. Yeah, $500 a day. Then of course, both basketball teams are supposed to be. I think they kicked out $15 million so they could stay in their own little place away from the village. And speaking of the village, let me digress back to the village in track and field. So of course, we have our Jamaican sister Shelly Ann Frazier, and then we have Sha'Carri that supposedly were stopped at the gate. Now, Sha'Carri didn't make a big issue out of it in the public, but Shelly Ann said, I'm gonna scratch because by them not allowing them in at the gate, they had to walk an exorbitant amount of distance to get into the entrance then come way back over there where the gate is original. So
Why
they
did
said
they not
somebody
let
stayed about an hour, and then they had no time to warm up.
They didn't have their credentials?
No, it was some silly rule, and they're gonna lambaste the Paris Olympics for this because you basically messed up the glorified races. The biggest race of the Olympics is the 100 meters either side. So they're gonna say that you guys messed it up for that, even though you can't take away from the sister from the Caribbean that won. But the fact of the matter is that you compromised that race because Sha'Carri, a lot of people said she didn't look that well coming out because, come to find out, she was one of the ones the nine at the gate, so she didn't get to properly warm up. And Shelly Ann Fraser said, I'm not going to try to race if I can't warm up because I'm going to look horrible out there. So, but what happened is that they didn't stay in the village. They didn't stay in the Olympic Village because there are a lot of people complaining about the accommodation. I think they got cardboard beds and something like that. And they just put a little cushion on it. So it's like, and then some people are buying air mattresses and all that just to, make
all
up for
the money they're making. They got to do better than that.
I know, exactly. So I hope LA won't have this issue in 4 years. But then what happened is that they supposedly changed the rule overnight because they had done that for the quarterfinals and all that. So they said that, Shelly Ann Fraser and I guess Sha'Carri and maybe another Jamaican runner, you guys can't come in this way because they changed the rule that you only could come in here on the team bus. So because they were big stars, they were coming in from the, I guess, wherever their lodgings were. And they said, no, you can't do this. I'm like, can somebody recognize that this is the fastest woman in the world and this is a legendary runner from the island of Jamaica that they need to be in no matter what the circumstances?
No.
Yeah. So now, of course, I know she's happy because that's the first gold medal for her country, but it's going to be an asterisk by it. There's going to be an asterisk by it, even if it's not officially an asterisk, but people are going to say, yeah, it's good that you won, but you know what? If Sha'Carri were warmed up properly and Shelly Ann ran, you might have been third. So, and that stinks on all sides. So, of course, LA has to be looking at this and say, we cannot have anything crazy like this happen when it comes to us.
Well, hey, man, we got to get out of here, Mike. I got to run. It is good to be back, brother, and we'll be back soon. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. For my friend and frat brother, Mike Roberson, I'm Rick Hampton. See you next week. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Mike.
All right. You're welcome. Peace.